In this episode, I'm here with Cory Sterling, and we're going to be talking about all the things you need to know about running outdoor workouts, why it could be a good thing, and some things that you should know as to why it could be a bad thing.
If you own a gym or you need a gym, this is your guy.
Hi, I'm Mike Arce, and I've spent most of my career in the fitness industry and helping those in it succeed. And after helping over 2,000 studios and 50 different franchises within the industry, I've learned a lot about what it takes to be successful. Here, I'll teach your studio how to advertise, how to sell, retain more members, increase profits, and become an overall better business owner in the space. And I share it all with you here. Welcome to the GSD Show. Ladies and gentlemen, from the beach, Cory Sterling.
Every day I'm hustling. Every day I'm hustling.
What's up, man? How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Mike. I feel like a wrestler, and I'm walking into the arena. It's like the Lawyer's song is playing. I'm walking in. I'm loving it. I'm excited about it.
You are the exact opposite of what most people think of when they see they have a mental image of an attorney or a lawyer. They think guy in a suit, power tie, gelled hair, slick to the side, some sort of briefcase, and a little intimidating. But you're like this cool guy that's always on a beach. I don't know if I've ever seen you with a shirt on, maybe once. And you're always
at Mind Body, I was wearing a shirt.
That's right, where I saw you speak at the conference. Yes. So you're very well known. You get asked to speak in front of tons of people because you know your stuff. But more importantly, you're an attorney that really understands and focuses on the health and wellness space. And so what I hear from you is there's some things that we need to know about protecting your IP as well as running outdoor workouts. So a lot of people right now are running outdoor workouts because of COVID and things that you can't do with social distancing or being able to do workouts in a gym at all. So I want to talk about both of those. Where did you want to start?
Let's start with, it seems like the outdoor stuff is more pressing just because I think in California, today's Friday, it was on Wednesday that they shut everyone down and they released protocols for what it's like to practice outside. So maybe we can start there and then we can quickly chat about IP. And yeah, like I'm a lawyer and I'm a person like everyone else. I'm an enthusiast for the health and wellness industry. I do 2 workouts a day. This is my life. When I lived in a city that had a gym, I taught fitness classes there. I taught yoga. So like I'm with you guys. It's all about practical legal advice. It's such an uncertain time, and literally on a daily basis, all of the rules are changing. So what I want to share today, if whoever's listening takes anything away from this, it's the practical application of what these things mean and the legal issues that you need to be aware of so that you can safely build your business, protect your asset, and keep revenue coming in during such a strange time.
You got it. For everyone that's watching live right now, feel free to ask questions. And we'll actually pop your question up on the screen and we'll be able to help answer it if it's relevant to the episode. All right, so what do we need to know?
Okay, so the first thing that has happened and what we're dealing with is that there's, and again, so the blanket situation is that it varies on a county to county and state to state and jurisdiction to jurisdiction basis. But what we've seen is a lot of counties being shut down and the government saying that you are not allowed to provide the services in your physical space, but you may be allowed to provide services outside of your space. So that could mean having a tent in the parking lot of where your fitness space is and being allowed to offer the services there. So that all of that's cool and I love it because what I care about as a lawyer is I want to make sure that my clients are continuing to operate, continuing to generate revenue. You probably have a bulk of your audience that is doing the Zoom and the online things, but probably there are some who are like the eager keeners who want to be back in the studio and back to practicing. And because the government is shutting the studio down for a second time, but now there's an option of doing it outside, what are the things that we need to be aware of? And the first and most important thing that I want everyone to be aware of is insurance. Insurance and law go hand in hand, and insurance is the first line of defense always that you need to have prepared, because insurance, in the event that something goes wrong, and even if you're using a waiver of liability and of all of these things, in a worst case scenario, you can file a claim and you can pay your deductible of whatever that amount is going to be, and then subject to what your insurance policy is, your insurance is going to cover you. What we've been hearing from, and our initial research has indicated that in the practicing outside of the physical space, because of the second round of closures, even though governments are telling people that they are allowed to practice in the parking lot or in adjoining areas or somewhere connected, insurance companies will not cover those activities. And that's really big, because if either you're an LLC or you're a sole prop, and you just have to understand that if you don't have the protection of insurance, your legal documents need to be that much better, but you also have to be aware of what the risks of operating without insurance can be. Does that make sense, Mike?
Yeah, so how easy is it to just go get insured, and is it separate from what I have with my current space for an outdoor option?
What I would recommend everyone who's listening to this to do, if you're in the situation where you've been shut down from operating indoors for a second time, but you have the option to operate outdoors, call your insurance provider and get super, super clear about what you are covered for and where you are covered. And that's a super easy, everyone can take this step, everyone can do that, and just please do that for me, for yourselves, for your business. Understand whether or not your insurance is covering you, because that's really the backbone of what's so important. The second issue that we've seen has been this really, really fine balance between, a county or a state or a jurisdiction saying, okay, you're allowed to practice outdoors, you're not allowed to practice indoors, everything's going to be shut. And then that county will have their own rules about the number of people and what procedures and what equipment must be used in this, that, or the other. So like I've said in previous podcasts that we've shared, it's really important for everyone to get information directly from your county government, your state government, do a bit of research to understand what procedures and guidelines that they are implementing and follow them. But the challenge is that we now have business licenses. So in order to operate, we often need a business license that's registered with the state or the county. And those business licenses are confined to operating indoors in that particular space. So now what we have is a wave of curiosity around people who want to be operating in the parking lot or outdoors or wherever it is, but it may not be covered under their business license. So I think in addition to finding out if you're covered under insurance, understand your business license, understand where you're allowed to conduct your business, and ideally you want to be in a situation where everything that you're doing is kosher and permitted, and doing the research to get informed before you make a decision about taking things outside or how you're going to be offering your fitness services outside. Get informed to understand what you are actually allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do.
Got it. For those that are, by the way, Christine, who goes as Lillard, she said we were able to get insurance for outside because we got a permit for the park in our township, which is good. Awesome, Christine. And so you said understand your state and county guidelines and the rules. Where does somebody go to get that information? What's the first line?
You'd go to the governmental website, which will have the information. They would have some information about, okay, we're going through the second wave of shutdown, but this is what you're permitted to do. All of this really started is because I have a bunch of clients in Santa Cruz, California, who were going through this. So they sent me all of the information of their county, and there were very, very, very clear guidelines about what you have to follow and what you're going to do and what the rules around being able to practice outside are.
Got it. Love it, man. Love it. Okay, so we got to make sure that number one, we got to get our insurance, call our insurance, find out exactly what we can and can't do, and if we have to increase that insurance in order to do what we want to do. Number two, we want to understand our state and county guidelines and the rules, and we just call your government website. So what do you just go to Google and type in state, let's say I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm in Maricopa County here in Arizona. So what would I search on Google to get?
You would do, it's called Maricopa.
Maricopa.
What? Maricopa. Sounds like a great, I've been there. I've been to that county.
Yeah, well, because you say you saw me. You came to see me.
Yeah, exactly. So when I came to see you, I was in Maricopa County. So I would go to Google and I would say Maricopa County shutdown guidelines, something like that, or Maricopa County, guidelines, COVID, right? I draft documents. I'm not great with SEO per se, but you just want to play around until you get to something that's either going to be like .gov, or maybe in Arizona it's .az. I don't know how you guys roll down there, but you just want to go to some information, and it should be readily accessible. And my understanding in the studios that I've worked with is governments are putting this information out there. They understand what's going on, and because they're even making an active effort to encourage outdoor activities, because they want the economy to continue to some degree in a safe and viable way without endangering anyone, they're putting this information out there, so it shouldn't be so difficult to find.
Got it. Perfect. Do you have to, like, let's say your insurance does cover, is there still anything that you should be updating in your waivers as people are going to be working out outside and in parks and stuff?
Yeah, for sure. So this is the same conversation we've had. Like, we had this conversation first when we were talking about offering services online. And waivers always come down to what are the activities that you're doing, what are the risks of those activities, and what are the outcomes of those risks. And the whole policy reason behind this is that if someone is going to be signing away their legal rights to bring an action against you, you have to be super upfront and clear with them about what they can expect to be doing and how they can expect to be doing it and what the outcomes of doing that are. And now, practicing fitness, as silly as it may be, practicing fitness in a parking lot is different from practicing fitness in a studio or in a gym. And there are different risks, and maybe now it's hot, it's summer. I don't know, what's the temperature in Maricopa County right now, Mike?
Well, right now it's nice. It's a brisk 91, but it was 116 last week.
Cool. So just imagine flipping tires at 116.
Yeah, no, I don't even want to go near I don't want to go near the door when it's 116. It's like a hot doorknob.
Let's get you a second door so you don't even have to go near to the first door.
Yeah. We had another person say that her park wasn't actually offering permits initially, and now they are. So I guess they're updating their rules too, as they know people need it and want it, they can help.
For sure, and I think that's a really helpful share, because, as I said, I think you're going to see governments being proactive to give people the opportunity to continue their business. But that being said, to protect your business and your assets and to avoid a litigious situation or winding up with liability or being found to offer services under the duty of care that you have to, you still have to have your documents in check, and you need to make sure you're following the rules as best as possible. But again, the first thing I said is it's so tricky because Tuesday this really wasn't as pertinent as it is today. So that's how these uncertain times have been unfolding. And the last thing that I just want to add is the importance of using a waiver of liability. So I'm just going to practically speak about how the whole process goes in this whole an issue, someone getting hurt, something going wrong, and practically how it works and why having the right legal document helps you, saves you time and money and stress. So someone comes to practice with you in the parking lot or an adjoining area in the park or wherever it is that you're practicing, and they get hurt. The agreement that they signed did not say anything about these particular types of activities or these particular risks associated with these activities. That person is going to be upset. Hopefully everything's okay. And like, this is not even withstanding all of the COVID stuff, which is included as well, making sure people sign away that they understand that they are potentially putting themselves at risk, and COVID should be included in all of these waivers. But let's say you do have the appropriate document. So we're not even talking about the state level or the municipal level about what you're permitted to do. Having the appropriate document stops the process very, very quickly. Because if someone gets injured or something happens, which happens all the time in our industry, you can just really quickly take a screenshot of the document that you had them sign or agree to beforehand, either electronically or in person. And that's going to say like, hey, we're practicing in a parking lot and asphalt can be really hot and this can be happen and maybe things can slip if the grass is wet or whatever it is. And like, you agreed to participate in these activities, knowing the risks and understanding the outcomes, and therefore you are barred from bringing a legal action. You've signed away these legal rights. And that's so different from trying to use the waiver of your studio or your indoor waiver, where the particular situation that has happened is in no way close to the new situation that has come up. So in a very, very practical sense, the waiver of liability is the savior here because it stops the issue before it really becomes a big problem.
Got it. Love it, man. Love it. Yeah, you always talk a lot about that and make sure. I think you probably been the most helpful out of everyone we brought in when it came to waivers and understanding what to do, what not to do. Don't overthink it, but don't underthink it. And I think the Cory tip that you said about 2 minutes ago is protect your assets. That's what you said. So I love that.
And no, sorry, I just have to take that because this is what breaks my heart in some way is that I work with so many clients who are really putting in 200% effort during this period. They're having to work harder than they ever had before. They're being stretched in completely different ways. They're managing a staff, they're trying to manage their staff and transition to online and do all of these different things. And what I think they always fail to realize is that from the legal aspect, if you don't properly protect your assets, all of this work can be flushed away so quickly. And that's why I'm just like, I will never stop being an advocate for people to protect their assets, ever. It's all of your hard work, it's all of your time, it's all of your effort. Have it taken care of.
Now, what about your employees? Is there anything that we need to know in regards to your employees having insurance, or if you're a fitness studio or gym, is it insurance for the company as a whole, or does each individual instructor, if they're running programs outside of the park or the parking lot, do they have to have anything?
So the whole idea, and the first thing I said in this is speak to your insurance company, understand how it applies to your staff. And if you are using contractors who have their own insurance, it's your obligation to make sure that their insurance covers them for what they're doing, if that makes sense. And in addition to that, you want to have a contractor agreement, which has something like an indemnity provision, which says, okay, well, if you end up being responsible for something that happens and we have to pay the price for that, you're going to reimburse us.
Love it. So, Cory, one of the things I love about having you on is I get to ask you the questions about the things that I know I don't know, but I also learn a lot of things that I don't know that I don't know. Is there anything else that I should be thinking of that would be good for fitness studio owners and gym owners to know right now as they're running classes, virtually or half capacity or anything like that, that you're like, I wish everyone knew this?
Yes. The one thing I'd say is everyone's business model is changing. And I'm sure you deal a lot with this in all of the sales work that you do and all of the community building and all of the social. So what I've seen is that everyone's business is changing. The two biggest areas that are coming up are between the employer-contractor distinction, which is an old issue, but it's now revamped because studios need to have more control over the way the services are provided, which is a key indication of an employee and not a contractor. A contractor runs their own business and you are not allowed to control the way those services are provided. But as a result of the new way that services are provided, fitness studio owners want to control more what's happening. So one of the biggest things that we've seen is the transition from many contractors to fewer employees. And the reason for that is you want to establish more control over the way the services are provided than before. When it comes to contractor and employee agreements, it's really important to have a voluntary return to work provision, as well as a COVID waiver and anything else that may be relevant in that particular relationship. So that's one thing that we see coming up a lot. But to answer your question directly, what are you not thinking about or you don't know that you don't know? What you don't know is that your business model is changing because you used to operate one particular way and now you're operating a different way. Using an agreement like a studio membership agreement or a membership agreement and actually reverse engineering your understanding of your business and your process and your revenue and communicating it through that document is probably the most helpful thing that you can do for your business. And why is that? I spoke to someone yesterday who had an 80% retention, but now everyone's going online and they've opened back up and barely anyone's coming into the studio. So I'm not a business consultant, but I'm a lawyer and all of my clients operate the same way. So I said, okay, well, what you have to accept is that you're now an online business. And until people are coming back out more, you have to think, how can you inject more sales opportunities? How can you create memberships, and how can you entice people to stay committed to the community now with the online efforts as to before using your previous model? So when I say drafting a membership agreement, what it actually is letting you do is retool the way you are looking at your business and your processes and your models and maximizing your revenue, and looking at a contract or agreement in that particular light instead of, oh, my lawyer said I need a new agreement, so I'm going to do it. It's more like being proactive and using this as an opportunity to evaluate your business. Where am I now making my money? How can I make the most money from that particular avenue? And how can I use my agreement as a vehicle to arrive at that outcome?
Got it. Love it. Cory, one of the things that I really love that you built, which has been super helpful for quite a few of the fitness studios and gym owners I know that we know, is this program where they can be part of a group where it's like a really ridiculously low like monthly fee. I don't remember what it was, but it was like, I remember when you told me, I was like, that's less than what I pay per hour, but for my attorney. But it's like a monthly fee, and they have access to you through like, what is it, like a group, a Facebook group or something like that?
Yeah, there's weekly calls, and what we do is on that weekly call, the cost is $188 a month. And on that call, everyone is allowed to submit as many questions as they have or they want beforehand. And when they submit, and then it's every Tuesday we have a call. You submit the questions beforehand. I go live. I answer the questions, and if anyone has questions in real time, unlimited access. My hourly rate is $333. So you're paying on a monthly basis for four hours basically of unlimited calls with me. What you'd pay for half an hour otherwise.
Yeah, because I was going to say, that's about what I pay per hour. So I can ask you 4 questions this week, and without having to pay your normal hourly fee, I can just pay the monthly fee, and you'll get to it in that weekly call. Is that how it works?
Yeah. You could ask 5, Mike. You can ask 5 questions. You're allowed 5. You're allowed 17 questions per week. You're allowed unlimited. There's not like 1 question per person. Mike, we are living in times of abundance. There is going to be an abundance of questions, an abundance of answers. And that's the point is, look, the point is that I love being a lawyer for the fitness industry. These are my people. I'm the same as you. I'm going to Pilates, and then I'm going to the gym this afternoon. I went for a run yesterday. Fitness is my life. I happen to have a skill set in this particular industry, and I want to see people growing and protecting their businesses properly.
That's awesome. If any of you guys want, here, I put my info on the screen. You guys can just message me too. Directly message me. I'll get you guys connected with Cory personally, so he knows you guys are with us. And yeah, Christine has a question as well. She says, can you repeat what we should have for employees that have come back to work since COVID?
Yeah, so you ideally, with what you're going to want to do, Christine, is you're going to want to revise your employment agreement. And that sounds like a pretty big task, and it sort of is. It's something that we help a lot of studio owners with. But what happens is the working relationship you have with your employees has changed. So it's very different now than it used to be before. It used to be, okay, we know we're going to have a set schedule and this number of students and all of these things. But now it's like, oh, maybe it's going to be half online, half in person, and we're going to have to ask you to do this and do that. But in addition to that, you're going to want to have them sign a release of liability related to COVID so that they understand there are risks of them returning to work and the possibility that something can happen with COVID in the workplace. And you're also going to want them to sign a voluntary return to work provision, which says they are coming on their own volition. You are not forcing them to come into work, and they do so voluntarily, full stop. Because the situation you want to avoid, and what I've dealt with in working with several professionals, is a situation of people feeling pressured, or they've got family members who are at risk and they don't want to go, and what are the legal implications of that? So I hope that's helpful to you.
Yeah, it is. It is. I appreciate it. So for everybody that wants to know more about Cory, feel free to reach out to me. I'll get you connected with them, because I know, Cory, you said you're going to do something cool for the Loud Rumor and the GSD Show group. So I'll get you guys connected. And then also for everybody that's watching and listening, subscribe to our show and leave us a review. We're actually going to start pulling people that reviewed us on iTunes and we're going to actually mention their review and them on the show. We really wanted to get more people to know about the show and what we're doing here. As we've seen, it's been really, really helpful. So if you could do that, leave us a review, and we'll go ahead and read out your review in a following episode. And other than that, Cory, is there anything else we need to know?
The other thing you need to know is that you're doing great. I didn't get to chat about the intellectual property stuff, and maybe I'll come back on another time and we'll be able to do that. I don't know what our time is now. But what I would say to everyone is that we're all trying our best, and keep going and stay strong, and remember that the reason you're doing everything you're doing is for your community. And you're doing it because there's a group of people whose lives have been immensely improved by doing fitness with you and making friends in your community, and let that be the focal point of all of your focus and attention as we guide through these uncertain times. And also know that Conscious Counsel, our law firm, is always here to support. We love making law fun and easy, and I want to see everyone thriving. You got it. And I just got from Patrick here, the URL is, I guess, legalwithcory.com. So legalwithcory.com. So if you guys wanted to know more about working with them, just go there. Other than that, Cory, as always, man, I really appreciate it. I'm going to type in your actual URL here as well, so it's there. There we go. All right, perfect. Cory, thanks so much again for all your help. And for anybody else that wants to learn more about working with Cory, just go to legalwithcory.com. He is awesome. He's helped out a lot of people that I know already, and I'm excited to have you guys focusing on this part of your business as well, because as cool as it is to grow your business, part of your job as a leader is to also learn how to protect it, because you don't want to lose something you worked so hard to build. You want to protect it for you, for your employees, for your families, for your members, and everyone else that now depends on your business being successful. And that's what Cory does every single day. So thank you, Cory. I appreciate it, man. Cool, Mike. Be good, dude. I'm excited to see you the next time I do. You got it. For everyone watching and everyone listening, leave a review, subscribe. We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. If you like this episode, make sure you subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play, or YouTube. And to watch more episodes and get exclusive links from each episode, go to gsdshow.com. Again, that's gsdshow.com.